Hi everyone, my name is Anna at Migrant Doctor Mom, and I'm so glad you could find time to join me today. Thank you so much for all the overwhelming support, all the feedback that you've been giving me. It's really, I really like that because then I can know how to tailor this conversations that we are having today. Today's topic is important because one of you has asked me to cover it, and it's mainly, it will touch a lot on students, and essentially it's what are the common mistakes that students do during their migration to Australia. So sit back and let's just dive into it and cover a few mistakes that happen. So the biggest mistake that I've come across and that has been raised to me by a lot of you is the unrealistic expectations that students may have. So obviously, as everybody comes to Australia, the process usually would have been tedious. The visas come out, and now they have arrived in Australia, or even during the transition period towards coming to Australia, there are a lot of expectations that are put, that the students put on themselves, but also at the same time, the expectations that family members, the community that people come from put on these students as well. And their expectations, some of them, I call them unrealistic because as soon as the students land here in Australia, they realize, oh, it is not what I thought it was. We all know, and it has been said that Australia is a land of opportunities. It is a land of, I don't want to say milk and honey, but it is a land of opportunities. And, eventually, with hard work and resilience, there is a lot of, benefits of living and staying in Australia. But as for students, I think the lot of expectations that people come in is, it's easy to get money. Students are expected by their parents to raise their own fees. And don't get me wrong, eventually a lot of students are able to pay their own school fees by working and all that. But I think it is sometimes unrealistic to expect that these students will quickly get here, quickly get jobs, quickly get money to support their families back at home and still cater for their needs. Remembering that Australia is quite, the cost of living can be quite high. And obviously, the student would have to meet a lot of, needs. They may, be limited a lot by their visa because of the amount of hours that they are expected to work and stay within their visa requirements. So you may find that, they may struggle quite a lot, especially, finding the first job, getting used to school, it is all different. The experience is all different because coming from your home country, the way things are done, the way uni, happens, and now you come to Australia, there is, how you do publication, how you do your, your presentations, and it can be a bit different, and obviously it takes a toll on students. So I think the expectations by parents is, I have raised the school fees, I have paid your air tickets, and there you go. You get on your own feet and, raise enough money to cater for your upkeep and also to pay for your school fees. So sometimes, you find students that actually, struggle a lot. In the current situation now, you may find that people are really struggling to find, accommodation, struggling to get their first job, and whereas the families back at home are either expecting, them to help them, pay loans, to help them, get some money and stuff like that. So that's a common thing that I would really urge parents back in Kenya. If you're sending your kids to Australia, please remember it takes them a while before they settle in. And if you're coming through as a student, remember and prepare yourself psychologically as well that eventually you will do it. But just remember that it takes you a bit of time to, get into the system, get your footing, and grow from there. Okay, and obviously find your first job and learn the culture and establish yourself as a student. The other thing that the common mistake that I've also seen that ties in hand with the first mistake is a lot of students do not come with money. Our parents raise, or they come with very little income or little amount of money. So the reason why I say this is a mistake is because before the students, like I already said, get their footing, it takes a while. Remember, as soon as they arrive, there is quite a driving license. If you're coming from your country, driving license, I cannot emphasize this enough. I see a lot of people coming to Australia with a driver's license, but they cannot drive properly. Practice, practice, practice your driving. Remember, in Australia, there is a public transport. Don't get me wrong, there's a public transport. It's just that sometimes as a student, or not only a student, I mean, even as a working person, moving from one place to the other, going to school, going to the mall, you need to be able to move around quite easily. And living in this environment where sometimes, during your school holidays, you may need to do double shifts and stuff like that, moving from one job to the other is just a lot easier, a lot quicker if you can drive. And remember, there are some jobs that will expect you to drive and have a functioning car that will, like some of the disability jobs will expect you to, transport a client from point A to point B. So very, very important, students, very, very important to drive. Just don't have a paper. You need to be able to drive. Soon as you start, thinking about coming to Australia, as soon as you go for your, visa application, and as you wait for it to come out, hit yourself on the road. Get somebody that's going to, I don't know if I can't reinforce enough. It's very, very important to make sure that you can drive and make sure that you don't just come in with a paper saying, or a driver's license, or The other thing that I've seen somebody saying is, why can't I just come to Australia and learn driving in Australia? It is very important to remember, getting a license in Australia, you can do that. That's another option. But remember, you'll need to be on your L plates for, a couple of months, and then you will need to get your P plates, your red P plates, for about 6 months, and then from 6 months get your green plates for, I think a total of 2 years. I could be wrong. And then after that is when you can only get full driver's license. That can take you up to 2 years. You don't want that happening to you, because some jobs may actually say you need to be able to drive sort of unrestricted. Remember, with the red plates, you can't drive after a certain time in Australia. After midnight, you can't be on the road with, some plates, So it's very, very important to make sure that you have a functioning, or quote unquote functioning, or I don't even know how to put it, but essentially what I am just insisting and saying it over and over. And for parents, make sure your child is driving. Take them for driving school, take them for driving practice. If you have a car, give your kids that car to use and drive around. Let them be independent on the road. And then when they come here, it is going to be so much easier for people to support them, so much easier for people to just show them the road signs, get them on the road with an instructor for probably just a week, and they're good to go. So very, very important. Do not come to Australia without a driver's license. Okay. Number 5 is lack of mentorship. I see some students come to Australia. Some of them are as young as 19-year-olds, fresh from high school, and they come to Australia. Look, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, very, very young people. They've now come to Australia, and they have to meet so much responsibility. responsibility of going to school, doing the assignments, because if you don't do your assignments, if you don't do your college requirements or uni requirements, you get reported to immigration. So the pressure can be quite real, and it's very important as a parent or as a student to link yourself to somebody who can mentor you. You know, mentoring is not somebody that's going to follow you around and stuff like that, but somebody that can guide you in the right way, somebody that can support you and, you know, provide some important information, and even if possible, link you up to people that can assist you to meet your requirements as a student. So, and there are, you know, there are community groups in Australia. You can reach out, you know, through the community groups, through the community leaders, and they can always link you up to the students' associations. And through there, I'm sure you can find somebody that can work with you and support you, even as you know, set footing in Australia. And the last thing is, the last common mistake that I've seen students do is as soon as they land in Australia, they forget the idea of community involvement. That's a very big mistake that I have seen. People are coming and they go like, oh, I'm just going to concentrate on my studies. I'm going to concentrate on my job. I'll move from job A to job B. I will not involve myself in the community. I will not go to church. I will not go to, you know, community events. And I find this can be quite isolating, you know. And living in a country where mental health is rife and very, very common, and incidents of drug abuse, intimate partner violence, and quite a lot of things that are happening in our community. You find that, you know, that element of not, you know, involving yourself in the community. People don't know who you are. If you're in trouble, people don't even know that you're in trouble. People don't know how to support you. So I would really, really urge students, you know, to, as soon as they arrive, you know, through your school, your college or your uni, get yourself involved in the community at university, get yourself involved in some of the communities. And the beauty of Australia is, as I always say, it's multicultural. You'll find the Indians, you'll find the Filipino community, you'll find the Egyptian community, you find the Kenyan community, you know, and you can always belong somewhere, you know, and it's always good to know that if something happened to you, you're far away from your parents, you are on your own most times, at least there is a people that can look out for you, and there is, you know, a group of people that, you know, can reach out and help you in your hour of need. So, yeah, as soon as you land, find your community, if, you know, belong somewhere, so that, you know, people can check in on you, people can, you know, support you. And why not? You can crash, you know, at someone's house, you know, and have a nice meal. Why not? You know, you're a student, you're young. You can have a nice meal and, you know, you can talk about issues and stuff like that. And you can just hang out with people who you have something in common with. And, you know, that can really help in settling in, that can really help in fostering your mental health, and, you know, and in the long run, make you really a productive student. And yeah, and that's how settling in may just be a whole lot easier with community involvement. So there are a few other things, you know, a few other mistakes that I've seen happening, but these are essentially the biggest ones. And if you're coming to Australia as a student, I would kindly, you know, ask you to, you know, go through this and set yourself, get yourself on a right footing so that you have a successful education, and you even finish your and get your, you know, your degree that you've come in to do. So thanks again. If you find this content helpful, please share it. Please share it, because I know students are always coming to Australia. And remember, we always say, you know, you don't have to live life and make mistakes and correct them, but you can always learn from other people's mistakes and be a better person. So let's share this. And thanks again for your support. God bless.